Good morning. Happy Friday. It's Friday. Woo! This is exciting. It's always exciting. I think every day for me is Friday. How is everybody this beautiful fine morning? It is absolutely stunning here in Brisbane. Yay. It is just delicious. Bit chilly this morning. I sleep in a sleeping bag now because that's what really keeps me warm. I wish I'd kind of figured that out a few years ago. Tracky dacks, sleeping bag, all is good in the world. Just waiting for some people to jump on or not. It's all good. Either way, you can watch this later. This morning, I would love to share some tips on public speaking. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, hey Ryan, love you, bro. The reason why I'm doing this is because it's come up a lot this week about public speaking, and I know a few people have mentioned their nerves about public speaking, and sharing their divine message with me, or their purpose, and or their ideas for their business. And when it comes to sharing it and public speaking, or even speaking to anyone, hey Mike. They get really nervous and they actually avoid it altogether. They avoid public speaking, and the thing about public speaking or sharing your story is that there is no real way of practicing until you're perfect. The only way of practicing is to practice and just to do it and to share your story. And so I thought I would share a little of mine, and then give you some tips on some ways to overcome any fears that you may have when it comes to speaking in public, or even just sharing your vision. So it was about when I was trying to figure out this morning when I was 11 or 12. I was in primary school still, and I'm from a very small town up in North Queensland. Hey to the guys in Collinsville, North Queensland. Yep, that's where I'm from. Small mining town. Awesome childhood there, a lot of freedom. Same when you get in front of a camera, people who freeze, and still to this day there have been moments where I've completely frozen, but I'll get to that as well. But yeah, back in the day when we were growing up, it was, you didn't lock your car, you didn't need to lock your house. The kids would just roam around the streets, catch up, and then meet up at home for dinner. You'd go to the basketball courts, or, hang out. And so it was really awesome. Now, best childhood. So primary school, I was one of a few singers in our school. And I was asked to sing the national anthem in front of our parade that we would have. It was a special parade, I think. It wasn't just a normal Monday parade. It was actually a special one. And me being me and loving to wing things, I thought, that'll be fine. That'll be easy. So when it came to the day of getting up and singing in front of 100 people in the school, and that's how many people that were in our school. Our whole school at the time was like about 100 people. I got up there and I started to sing the national anthem, and then I literally froze. I literally completely forgot the words. This is the national anthem, which we were singing every week. We all know it. I know it to this day. But when I got up there and felt the energy and I got really nervous, I completely forgot the words to our national anthem and just froze. And there was nowhere to go. There was nothing to save me. I didn't even have words there to kind of like look at. I just was completely unprepared. Now, ever since then, I subconsciously made the effort to just better that skill of public singing, public speaking, or whatever it was, anything to do with being in the public eye. So, and even to this day, I'm still working on it, and we all do. There's no such thing as being perfect. There's always better. You can keep getting better and better and better. Now, one thing that I failed to do was prepare. Now, preparation, it can happen in so many ways. It's relative to whoever you are and whatever works for you. But for me, now I've kind of worked out a system where I can not only get up in public and speak to people openly and fearlessly, I will say that because I can, but dynamically as well. So there is a difference between being able to get up and speak and then being able to get up and speak dynamically. So, you know, have you ever been to a convention or a workshop when, you know, someone is up there and they're speaking and the energy in the room is quite dull? You know, bless them for getting up, of course, but, you know, the energy. And so if you're wanting to learn how to be a dynamic speaker and learn how to actually lift the vibration of the room, here are some tips that I have. So one thing is really important when you're speaking, because this is what I used to do very up until recently, is that I used to write everything down. I would write everything down and have notes and write, like, I didn't want to say this, I want to say this, and I'd literally write a story and then kind of go. The story on paper was perfect, you know, it's excellent, but when it came time to memorizing it, preparing for it and reading it, and I would reduce it to bullet points, it still was something that that I could not really work with fluently. And the reason why that is because I'm a kinesthetic learner, or someone, I don't know if, I'm an active learner, so I'm not huge on reading and learning. I am the best learner when I'm learning from someone teaching me in action. So reading from notes and having so much going on in here, when I would use that strategy of having bullet points on a page, whether it be A4, A5, whatever, I would still kind of get up there and do my own thing anyways. And I would always miss the point. So I would always kind of touch on the point a little bit, but the landing point. So what's really, really important to do is to really make sure that you have your landing points down pat. Now, landing points is the message that you're wanting to share in that one, in the moment that you're up speaking, whether it's promoting something, promoting your business, promoting anything, or just getting up and talking. This is relative to any way of speaking. Landing points are really important. Now, your landing points don't have to be huge or long. It could be simply one word. What is the message that you want to share? What is it that you want people to walk away with? So your landing point is so important. So once you get that down pat, you can literally put everything else together in here. So what I really enjoy starting with, as you probably noticed just then, is that starting with a story that is real, a story that is true, and a story that relates to your landing point. So you think about your landing point, thinking about the message, and think about a time in your life where you've actually experienced that message, experienced that experience, where you can then derive from that story the landing point. You know what I'm saying? So you use the story, because in that story is where you naturally start telling, because public speaking, speaking is storytelling, and the best way to be dynamic about it is to tell a story that is real to you. So from that, you're not trying to remember, like, memorize words. You're actually just remembering, experiencing, and then sharing it with your audience, word for word from what you remember. And that is when we start feeling it. That's where the energy starts to lift, and that's why we start connecting as humans and start connecting as an audience to speaker, is that you start telling a story that relates. And I hope that makes sense. So so making sure that obviously your landing point has value to your audience. You don't want to just get up there and just, get up there and not, people walk away, go, I don't even, what just happened then? Have you ever done that before? You've walked away from something, go, what was that about? Like, that was just weird. So make sure that your landing point has lots of value. So story, landing point. And throughout what you will find is that when you start telling your story, you will have many different landing points as well, which is also always adds extra value. Now, the huge thing is that people get nervous. Now, you get nervous because you're trying to remember. There's many reasons why you get nervous. Why we get nervous is that you're obviously trying to remember what to say. So when you have your story already down pat, there's not much you have to remember, and then after that. Bad girl. Okay, I'm just what? Righto. And when you're, oh yeah, now you've just distracted me. So, yeah, so nerves. When you get, when you are wanting to tell a story and you get nervous about it, it's because you're trying to remember what you're trying to say. So that's a huge thing. Yeah, exactly. So I like to imagine not talking to an audience of naked people, because that actually makes me even more nervous. I know that, you know, trying to imagine your audience naked, and it doesn't work. For me personally, it doesn't work. So what I find is the best way is to imagine you're speaking to a group of people that you already love, trust, and know, that you already talk to on a regular basis. So yeah, so I talk to, right now, I've already imagined in my head who I'm talking to. I'm talking to my partner, because I always have a really great, these really great conversations with him. And so I'm already imagining I'm just talking to him. And so it allows me to be natural and tell a story and share my tips with you. So imagining people that you already know, love, and trust is really helpful. And then you can then just pretend you're actually speaking to them. You know, pretend that you're telling them the story. Pretend that you want the message to land with them. And then he's on stage. He pretends everyone are clouds. Fair enough. Whatever works. That's a good one. So yeah. So that's a huge tip. And because it all comes down, perception is huge. If you think that everybody is judging you, that you're completely wrong. There's one thing that we need to completely shift to the side, is that no one is judging anyone. When do you ever sit in an audience and judge anyone? Like, when you sit in an audience, as an audience person, like being in the audience, you get excited about someone being up there. First and foremost, because they're displaying courage. And then secondly, you get excited about what the content's going to be, because you're there for a reason. You're there to hear the content. Now, as a speaker, you have to remember that is you. People are thinking the same thing. Your audience is not thinking, oh, wow, like, check them out, you know, whatever, or judging. What they're thinking is exactly what we think, is they get excited. They get excited that, you know, that you're up there, and they are inspired by your courage for being up there, because as a collective, we are completely inspired by someone who can get up and talk to a crowd of people. Because we wish, you know, we're like, oh wow, I wish I could do that too. So remember that you're actually up there for a reason. You're speaking for a reason. If someone's asking you about your business, that's for a reason. But preparation is huge, and preparing is literally practicing your landing point, your story, getting it down pat. Like, just practicing it is massive, and that's the biggest tip that I got since I was 12 years old. So yeah, that's me for today, and I'm just so absolutely thrilled that I have this platform to share. I have a lot of things going on in my head, and I love the opportunity to share anyways. But thank you so much for everybody that's jumping on and having a look if it's later. If you have any questions, if you want to do some public speaking practice, I'm more than happy and open to help you with any of that stuff as well, because it's always a lot of fun. But yeah, have a wonderful Friday. Mwah. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.